Squats create more space in the top of the pelvis to help your baby engage, or do they create more space in the bottom of the pelvis to help with pushing? Let's break down how you can use a deep squat to create space in the top of the pelvis, and then how you can use it to create space in the bottom. The top of the pelvis is your pelvic inlet, and this is where your baby's going to enter into the pelvis. The top of the pelvis opens with wider knees with external hip rotation in addition to pelvic tilting. When I have more of an anterior pelvic tilt or arch in my back, there's more space in the front half of my pelvic inlet. But if I have a posterior pelvic tilt where I'm tucking my butt underneath, it's creating more space in the back half of the pelvic inlet. If you're trying to create space in your pelvis to help your baby engage, moving forward and backwards with your pelvis, in addition to wider knee positions, tends to create space in the top part of the pelvis. Deep squats can be a great way to create space in the top part of your pelvis. One of my favorite laboring positions is to hold onto something with your upper body to allow your legs to relax in a deep squat. Your knees can come wide, and then you can just sway from side to side or move your hips from forward and back as you have a contraction. But you may have heard that abduction, or the leg moving out, decreases space in the top of the pelvis. So how could abduction be creating space in the pelvic inlet? So abduction by itself may decrease space in the top of the pelvis. However, when we have abduction and then we add in external hip rotation, it creates space in the top of the pelvis. The movement patterns by themselves may create different types of space within the pelvis, but when we combine them together, it could influence the type of space that we have. So whether your leg is externally or internally rotated could create different types of space within the pelvis, in addition to whether or not your pelvis is tucked underneath or it's arched. So ultimately, the best labor position is the one that you choose and feels most comfortable for you. But how can we create space in the bottom of the pelvis if you wanted to do deep squat while you're pushing? If we want to create space in the bottom of the pelvis, we typically need adduction where the legs come together in addition to internal hip rotation, which is going to require the hamstrings and the adductors. So you could do more of a hinge squat where the hips are high. We have a little bit more hamstring and inner thigh activation to create space in the bottom of the pelvis. You can also sit down to a birthing stool, which is going to allow you to activate your lats to pull the sacrum out of the way. It's going to help to relax your legs so the pelvic floor can get out of the way. And you can find a little bit more internal hip rotation to create more space in the pelvic outlet. So you can use squats to help create space in the top of the pelvis to help your baby engage, and you can use squats to help create space in the bottom of your pelvis while you're pushing. Ultimately, the best labor position is the one that you choose regardless of what type of space is happening within the pelvis. If it's helping you relax with your contractions or with pushing, it's the best position for you.